I wanted my entire life to become a world champion. I became a world champion.
You were walking when we were watching you come to the ring against Fury. You look calm, you look quite confident.
I mean, I might have been calm, but I wasn't that confident. Honestly, in the fight, I didn't realize it was an elbow.
I mean, you've been punched enough times to know.
I've been punched because at some point, even in the corner, my coaches were there in front of me, talking to me, but their voice were like coming from, resonate like from far distance.
Welcome back to the Ring Magazine podcast. Today we have the Predator, Francis Ngannou.
Fury's chin, who knows? He's big and he's powerful. Can he cause boxing's biggest shock?
The lineal heavyweight champion in MMA, mate. He's still number one after all these years. The king.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Ring Magazine returning? You went to the event last night. Great event. You look good in your suit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the glasses as well. Good look.
Yeah. You know, trying to have a different appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sophisticated.
Well, I think a sport appearance is also sophisticated. It's all about like perception.
What did you think of the event? They had obviously Turkey Al-Sheikh was there, Oscar De La Hoya, the Ring Magazine relaunch. It was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think he was quite a massive event.
Yeah,
a lot of good people was there and everything. All the sport, the how to say the quality people of the sport was there. You know, the legends. It was a fun
Did you
event.
talk to any legends in particular? Any legends? Did you have a good conversation with any of them?
Lennox Lewis.
Lennox Lewis. Yeah.
Lennox Lewis.
Were you a bit starstruck a little bit? Were you a bit like starstruck by him? Because he's a presence, right? Like he's the real legend in boxing.
Yeah, of course. I remember like the first, one of his first video that I watched was his game Mike Tyson, and I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
You know, I grew up knowing Mike Tyson even by name,
Yeah.
even without watching his fight. So then I saw a guy beat him. I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah, you have to
You know,
know.
and he was like very basic but good, like chop, 1, 2, 1, 2, and
He does all of the fundamentals perfectly.
perfectly.
The UFC career now, you've obviously closed that chapter. Maybe
Long time ago.
maybe.
It's not maybe.
Is that it forever now? You'll never go back to the UFC.
To do what?
Well, there's talk. I mean, Turkey Al-Sheikh was talking about he'd love to see you fight John Jones.
Yeah, I can fight John Jones without being in the UFC.
Really?
Those two are separate. They don't have to be the same thing.
How do you look back on your time at the UFC now it's over? What are your feelings about your life in the UFC?
Well, you know, I like to say things are what they are. That time was a good time. Regardless of how it ended, I would say that was a good time because I learned from it. I met people, and then whatever happened, good thing and bad thing, but I cannot blush everything because of maybe something that wasn't good, right? So that was my my own experience, and I think I took it very positive. And if I had to change anything, I think I wouldn't change it because I learned from it. I have a lesson, and I'm who I am today based on that. Regardless, you know, I think we have our own contribution. I think I brought my own part, a little piece in the sport, and then I also get my own from the sport.
You did something that no other fighter has ever done in the UFC, which is you beat the business side of the UFC. You're a very clever businessman, obviously, because what they do is they get these fighters on long contracts, right? And you didn't take the big offers that they were offering, maybe not as big as you deserved, but they were offering longer contracts. You fought out your contract because you wanted that freedom. And you put yourself in a very risky position because they were putting you against Cyril Gane. You had knee injuries. The pressure was on. What was it like when you won that fight against Cyril Gane? You won your freedom, but not just your freedom. You had the value of still being champion and walking out with the belt.
For me, I mean, that night, for me, that was when I ended my career. The next was just like a business side, a series on the kick. You know, I remember going into that fight. Like, none of my team wanted me to take that fight. They said, "Oh, you could have just sit down and wait until the contract end." At the end of the day, December 2022 is gonna be over. You're gonna hit the sunset. You can't just lay down instead of taking a fight that is risky. I'm like, I'm not laying down. I'm standing on my feet. I'll die on my feet. I'll hold my position no matter what. And I'll also use the platform to send my own message, get my voice, you know, trying all the blushing, all the manipulation that is trying to happen. I think those same platform were trying to hang me the mic, and I'll have to speak and explain exactly to people what is going on behind the scene, because we have this mega media channel that is controlling everything, controlling the narrative, telling things that are not quite accurate or absolutely not, and then you're just a victim. Right? So I'm like, I'm not just letting let them kill me like this. I stand on my feet. So it happened that way, and I was very satisfied. I was very happy. But at the same time, I had some emotion though, because the way that things played out was quite unfair. You know, you feel that like it's not fair. It shouldn't be this way. You know, and it was mix of a feeling. But at the end of the day, I took the good part of it.
What I loved about your final fight was obviously you became known as the knockout artist, great hands, and you had a secret up your sleeve, which was, I've been working on my wrestling. And you turned into a wrestler in that final fight and took Cyril Gane down whenever you wanted, slamming him down. In terms of walking out with the belt that night, and I guess you'd probably never seen a lot of those guys again after that. Was there any comments? Was there anything said to you by Dana White? Or did he wait until you were out the building before saying anything?
Yeah, Dana White wasn't there at the end of the fight.
Oh, you didn't put the belt on you, did he?
No, he didn't.
Oh, right, yeah.
So there wasn't a chance that he said something. I think he was so pissed. He was so upset about the result. But for me, that night, the belt wasn't the thing that mattered for me. You know, I don't hold done into like stuff, like material. I wanted my entire life to become a world champion. I became a world champion. And then I didn't want to change my principle because of the world champion, because of the system. So I was fighting for something way bigger than a belt. And I finally get it. So yes, the belt was there, but for me it was just, I mean, it's a piece of a middle. It's all about the reason why you fight for, the purpose why you fight for. I think that's the drive. That's what should motivate you. And for that fight, I had a lot more than a belt as far as motivation goes.
When you got your freedom, you obviously
more than my freedom. I think I stand on my feet.
Yeah.
Whether I live or I die, I was on my feet. And that for me was the most important. Stand up. You know, I remember at that time, during this process with the UFC, because people don't realize how much you can receive that much pressure. Everybody was bashing me, and they were sending like a wrong message out there, and people was carrying on. And kind of like frustrating, apply a lot of pressure on me. But I remember one thing that for me was like, okay, this is it. I'm an actor in the movie. You know, I'm Leonidas in the 300. Like, at the end of the day, the entire world will know that a free man stood up against the Titan. And I don't know how it's going to end. I mean, obviously ended up in a perfect way. You can tell the story like, oh, I know I didn't know anything. I just had my position, and lucky for me, he worked out.
I mean, you've definitely lived your life like a movie, and you've had that courage of like, I will not like back down to anyone, and I'm going to do what's right. And
yeah, I mean, it's like what's right, but it's also like what I want. You know, like one thing that I like to go by is like my feeling, or how I like things to be. It's not about like where he get me. It's not about the cost. I did the thing that I want. It might cost me a lot. It have happened that those choices will cost me a lot, but it's my persona, and I don't want to change it for some reason. I don't want to accommodate, because at the end of the day, the only thing that you get is like who you are, you know, like your principle. That's the only thing that you own. You know, I'm not a pawn in a game. I set my own game and I play. Might be in a small scale. It might be no workout as perfect, but I set the game.
You had the last laugh, especially because you called out Tyson Fury, a fight which Dana White specifically said you wouldn't stand a chance in. And that fight against Tyson Fury has actually set off a chain of fights. This was the original Riyadh season fight. And now you were involved in the very beginning of
the legend of the Riyadh season.
That's what
I was talking to I was talking with the minister last night. Like, yes, Riyadh season is getting big. Inquiring Rig magazine giving life into boxing in general, and but we all agree that among everything, Battle of the Batters is a legend of Riyadh season.
One of my favorite fights ever.
Yeah, I think for me, it's is my greatest show ever. Like, I don't know what is to come, but as far as I'm concerned, Riyadh season is unbreakable.
Mate.
Battle of the Batters is uncomparable.
Your boxing debut, your first ever boxing match, you dropped the heavyweight champion of the world. No one will ever replicate that. You will be remembered, even long after you're gone. People will talk about, remember when Francis Ngannou dropped Tyson Fury in his first ever fight. That's amazing.
You know what? Because as I said, after my last fight in the UFC, I was just here to like, okay, I'm living my life in full, with living my passion, no stress. And at this point, I wasn't care about anything. I was just like, okay, let's have fun. I don't know the outcome. I might finish seeing the white, but you know, just go there and do what you can do your best. And I think I always go by that. From the beginning, it's always like, give my best. Not sure if it's gonna be enough, but make sure that you give your best, and then the rest, you cannot control it.
On the walk-in, when we were watching you come to the ring against Fury, you look calm, you look quite confident. How confident really were you? Because it's unknown territory, this.
I wasn't calm. I mean, I might have been calm, but I wasn't that confident. Because again, I have my ego as a man that I say, okay, I'm fighting another man. I have the capability to win, you know? But at the same time, I'm like, it's my first boxing match. I'm there questioning myself if I can go through 3 rounds, 4 rounds, if I can get there. I never been there in my life. And then I'm getting to the end of my career. I'm fighting a guy that has a whole experience in his entire career, getting almost in the end of his own career. So he have done that tens of times. I haven't done that ever.
And you were coming off the back of knee surgery. People were saying that he'd had time out. You'd had even more time out than he had before that.
One thing, can I stand up on this knee again? Like, is it gonna hold up?
Yeah.
Like, because I had like a very hard knee surgery, a lot of complication, and for over a year, I was like, couldn't walk properly, struggling with rehab. I'm like, is it gonna hold up, or is it gonna buckle for once for all? I don't know.
Wow.
But you know, again, do what you can do and see what's happened.
At what point in the fight were you like, this isn't as hard as what they said it was going to be? I'm pretty good at this, yeah.
No, I didn't say that at any moment.
Really?
You know, like I was just struggling, thinking round after round, like, how am I feeling? Am I good? Am I this? One thing that I kept telling myself is like, don't rush, don't go too much. You might get tired. That was my biggest concern. You know, I didn't want to get tired before him. So, like, even the punches, like, don't put power. Trying to get speed and the much punch as possible, but don't try to knock him out. Again, you're fighting a guy that has like a 7 life, like a cat.
Yeah.
We have all seen Tyson Fury reincarnated from death.
True,
So
like,
that's why, like, people say, oh, when you knock him down, you should have just gone. I'm like, no, I know this guy can die and resuscitate again. So I wasn't going to.
Also, landing on him is hard. Like, you know, when you were kind of covering up when you caught him, and then you threw the left hook. Was that the plan? Was that part of the game plan, or was that just instinctive?
No, that wasn't a plan. I mean, like, I think at that moment I saw, like, he became very aggressive, kind of like, you know, like, you tell yourself, like, okay, let's stop this. That's how he reacted.
Was confident, wasn't he?
He was very confident and pushing, like, okay, let's stop this. And then start like 1-2 with speed and like, okay. Then I'm like, no, I'm not backing down. You know, I'm holding my position.
Yeah. When you knocked him down, what were the emotions like? Because that must have been like a wow feeling.
I was in the middle of the fight, so I couldn't just allow myself to stay there and feel the emotion of just knocking somebody down. He wasn't a knockout. If he was a knockout, he would have been something different. But although I still remember that at the beginning of the fight, he said, oh, let's go to school. Let's something like that.
Yeah, time to go to school.
Yeah. So that's why I give him a little dance there. Like, it's not working proper. It's not working well for you.
I've never celebrated more in my life, mate, because he's given me some stick, you know, in an interview once. And I just went absolutely crazy when you did that, because he wasn't expecting it. And I think another thing he wasn't expecting was obviously the way he likes to fight with Deontay Wilder. He clinches a lot. He gets a hold of you. How did it feel when you were in the clinch? Because you seem to handle that easy.
Yeah. And I knew that, like, one thing that happened, like, you know, from the beginning of the fight, and as soon as we get closer, the referee was there, break, because I think the referee wanted to keep a distance because Tyson was more comfortable in the distance, and me coming from MMA, technically I'm more comfortable on the clinch than him, but then at some point in the fight, he was the one that was initiating the clinch. And that moment, the referee wasn't like, break. I'm like, are we going to break or are we going to stay here all night? You know? So that's why I feel like even there, something was off. But that was it. No more.
The move that I think you used quite a lot was you'd get your forearm and you just, with one arm, he's trying with both arms, you with one arm, you just push his neck away.
Yeah.
And he couldn't live with that. And obviously you're using one arm just to manhandle this 6'9" man. Did you feel a lot stronger than him in the clinch?
I mean, I wasn't there to measure the power. I was there, first of all, to make him uncomfortable. Because this is the thing of the clinch. Make somebody uncomfortable. Clinch is very exhausted, whether it's for a wrestler or whomever, you know. So I didn't want him to get comfortable in the position, even if it's what he wants, where he has his neck like this. He doesn't want to be like this, so he should maybe get off, or I stop whatever he has in mind by doing that, by getting him uncomfortable.
When he elbowed you, you ate that like a true MMA warrior. Do you think he should have had a point deducted? And you basically, like, that could have robbed you of the decision.
Honestly, in the fight, I didn't realize it was an elbow.
Yeah.
I went back to the hotel and I felt my forehead was sore. I'm like, damn, what is, like, you know, I thought I caught a punch or something or a head bump. I didn't know. until I saw the video online, that's when I realized that he was an elbow.
Do you think that was a deliberate elbow?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, you saw, the video was in slow motion, and he was clean shot in front of the referee. So yeah, I think he should have get a point deducted.
Last one on the Fury fight. You lasted 10 rounds in your first ever boxing match against him. How many rounds would he last with you in an MMA cage?
How many, whatever round I decide for him to last.
Can we just, like that? Remember that one? I love that.
MMA fight round is 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I think 5 minutes is enough for me to decide his fate in a cage.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, you went on after that. You fought AJ. The irony was Dana White was claiming at the time you don't want to fight the best, and in your first 2 boxing matches you fight 2 of the best 3 boxers in the world. Credit to you, by the way. Balls the size of Africa, right? Then obviously it didn't go your way against AJ, and I was wondering, when you watched the Daniel Dubois fight, Daniel Dubois AJ, was there things you were thinking that you wish you'd have done differently against Anthony Joshua after watching that fight?
You know, whether it's in Tyson Fury fight, I always said, like, whatever is the fight, there's always something to do different. We tend to like undermine the improvement when we win a fight. We're like, oh, you're good, you're the charm, or this and that, and you're like, oh, good. Nobody asks you those questions like what you could have done different, right? But I think at any moment, there's always something that you could have done different. And this is how I try to do. Like, even my last fight was MMA fight. I won the fight, but I still went back, watched the tape. I'm like, oh, I should have done this instead. This would have been better, right? Because there's always something to do different. Now, coming back to the AJ fight, I think one thing that I would have done different, most importantly, was to make sure the promotion was right, because nothing was right into that fight. And again, this is not an excuse.
What do you mean by the promotion?
The organization. The organization. I mean, AJ is a very he's a legend, you know, as far as heavyweight boxer. He's the best, one of the 3 best heavyweight of the era. So he can knock everybody out. He can win against everybody. I don't think like, no, AJ cannot win against me. But I felt like I got that they didn't allow me to come at my full potential at that fight. They didn't even it up. That's my problem. That might not have changed the outcome, but at least things should have been fair. The whole fight week, everywhere from Monday to Saturday, I believe, everywhere that we go, I have to get there like 1 hour and a half before AJ or before the beginning. The fight night, I went to the arena 4 hours before the fight, which I have never seen that.
Yeah.
Never. I mean, we sat there and was falling asleep. I don't know if it was really like a fatigue of the week or of the night, or if it was something. I don't know. I have no idea. So from the moment that I walked into that ring, I wasn't as I was walking into a Tyson Fury fight. And one thing that really gave me surprise, which was hit me like a, like a cold water thing that I don't understand, was the first knockdown. Like, I was down. I'm like, what the fuck really hit me? I felt the punch, but come on, when you get connected, and that wasn't a punch that.
I mean, you've been punched enough times to know.
I've been punched, even in the sparring. I've been hit. I've been elbowed. And now I'm like, why am I down here? Like, this punch, I feel the connection from the punch and the knockdown. There's something off. Something was off. But again, after that, you know, usually like if you get a knockdown, people recover from a knockdown for a second or stuff like that. We finished the round. I went to my corner, and then even in the corner, I keep going. And then I never came back from that corner.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened next, I wasn't aware of.
It's hard to
like,
recover then.
Because at some point, even in the corner, my coaches were there in front of me, talking to me, but their voice were like coming from, resonate like from far distance. So everything on that fight was off. You know,
I mean, your chin is
might
legendary as well. It's not like you've struggled with taking punches before. Like, you've got a great chin.
I mean, I don't like to take punches, but I have took some punches, right? I have took some, like even the Tyson fight, I took some elbow, and that elbow was straight up to my face.
Yeah.
It wasn't an elbow that hit my gloves and come to my face and stuff, but it is what it is. It's the sport.
In terms of your next fight, we'll wrap it on there. Just let me know. For me, as a fan of you, as much as you've accomplished everything, it was your most important fight because of who it was for. It was for your son. And as a fan, we were all rooting to, like, we just needed you to have this moment. When you won that fight against Ferreira, who's a massive man, like, it wasn't an easy fight.
In all terms, yes, he's a massive guy. He makes me look very small.
Anyone who makes you look small is a giant.
And one thing that's funny about it, the guy is 6'9", but he can do a backflip on one leg. That's how athletic he is. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I remember the first time that I saw a clip of him on Instagram. Then I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And then I check. That's how. This was back in like 2000, early, maybe right after Ngannou or before Ngannou. I'm like, what's this? And I checked, he was a guy at PFL and this. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, he's impressive. I mean, he's still going to be a great heavyweight. He's still going to go on and have a great career, but you dealt with him. You got the takedown. You got great ground and pound, got the win. Your speech after the fight, what was it like just to be able to give that moment to your son?
You know, he was very important for me because I come from a hardship, you know, and for me, during all this moment, I sworn to myself to not let my kid being in this position, you know, to not feel this powerless. I wanted to give my best. And I get to the point of my life that I think I'm doing things right. And then this happened without letting me a chance. I would have preferred, I don't know, I think I would have liked to see my kid get sick, give me a time to fight for him, to deploy my energy and, you know, be there for him. Trying to connect with him and feel this, and then it didn't happen. Yeah. Like, so I feel so powerless. At the same time, kind of feel like useless. Like, okay, as a dad, like, what have you done for him? Like, you didn't do anything, right? So this was something that I wanted to do, at least like do something for him.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do, I wanted, like I remember the day that they called me that, oh, he fainted and this, bro, I'm like calling like, okay, we get this, I check in for a medical jet to take him and bring him to the hospital. I'm like, we are going to the best hospital ever. And all of this, I didn't get a chance to do anything like this. You let anybody speechless, powerless, useless. So I wanted to do something for him.
You are a great father. You're a great fighter, great man. And I really am grateful for this time, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, they've told me we've got to wrap it up there. Thank you very much, Francis.
Thank you,
brother. That was Francis Ngannou on the Ring Magazine podcast.